When it comes to martial arts styles, it's really not important about if it works or not, but more about the experience level in the practitioner. An inexperienced martial artist, whether it be boxing, karate, Wing Chun, all styles, is not really going to be doing well defending themselves using their art compared to as an experienced martial artist within those styles. Alright, so in our left is the inexperienced boxer. To our right is the average street fighter, okay? So, the fight begins. And as immediately you can see, the inexperienced boxer did successfully get out of the way for the first strike, but when the second one came, he got hit, and his strike got blocked. And his positioning is just really off.
Alright, now we are going to show an experienced boxer versus a street fighter. The experienced boxer is going to be on the left with the red shirt, and our street fighter again in the black. The boxer successfully dodges the first punch with getting a hit in, and then dodges the second with a hit of his own.
Alright, to our left is the inexperienced karate fighter. To the right is the average street fighter guy. Alright, the fight begins. And as you can see, the karate fighter, as soon as he saw that punch, tried to get his block, was partly successful, and the second punch immediately failed.
The experienced karateka or karate fighter versus an average street fighter. Immediately as he sees the punch comes, he gets a uchi uke or inside block and parries the punch slightly. With this uchi uke, if you can see, not only do I come in to block, but it's also an attack at the same time. It would be quicker and at the same time in reality, but a little bit slow in an exaggerated form just to show it off. And then as he comes in for the second punch, the karateka also throws in another punch, and this type of punch might be slightly unconventional, but from what I've learned, you can also use that punch to slide in.
To our left is the inexperienced Wing Chun fighter. To our right is the big tough guy. The fight begins.
Our inexperienced fighter, he did a lot of things wrong when it comes to using Wing Chun for fighting, but looking at the technical aspect, so the first two punches he actually was able to parry successfully, but he didn't really do much with it. He just got parries, he didn't get any closer. After the parries, the street fighter just completely went through the Wing Chun guy's punches. They most likely traded blows. So the big tough guy really just went through all of his defense. Alright, so from the very beginning, again, not going too much into Wing Chun and like how to use it for fighting and the details, but the stance, very unorthodox, very open. And so when the big tough guy immediately sends his first punch in, the experienced Wing Chun guy immediately does parries the first one, begins closing in as the second punch comes, parries it, and then gets his first punch in, second punch in, third punch, fourth, fifth. For the opponent to even counter with the flurry of punches, because those punches are continuous until the opponent gets knocked down, it'd be very hard to counter.
As you can see, there's a big difference between the inexperienced fighter and the experienced fighter. Namely, the way they moved, how the movements looked, and some people will be like, oh, it's not the same, so it's not going to work, blah, 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 blah. The experienced fighter and the inexperienced fighter did completely different things. But the thing is, that's the point. The experienced fighter, they've trained all the techniques, they've trained to get the attributes, they know what works, what doesn't work, okay? Whereas the inexperienced fighter doesn't, okay? They just kind of do what they've been told, all right? All their movements are going to be modified to make it work for fighting, okay? That's the point. It takes experience to know that, it takes training. Yeah, that's it.
All right, just so that there, people in the comment section saying, "Whoa, what the hell are you talking about? You're a young guy." For the record, in my martial arts background, I started when I was 4. My dad from Japan teaching me karate, specifically Shotokan and Kyokushin, and I went to a few dojos too when I did karate. Anyways, as I grew older, I got into boxing too, and I took 2 years of boxing, almost going into amateur fighting, but parents not wanting me to get brain damage. And with Wing Chun, I haven't had any formal training, mostly learned from friends and training exchanges. It was not a formal education by at all, so admittedly my knowledge in Wing Chun is very limited.